on the border.
These buoys aren't going to stop them because you can just go around them.
Concertina wire under the water.
First, they closed the gates, and then came the sea wire. Then they locked us out.
And the desperation's getting out of control at the border in a small town that has now become ground zero, Eagle Pass, Texas. Thanks for joining us again, friends. I'm Dami Virgen with Sinclair Broadcasting for a new edition of Immigration Crisis, The Fight for the Southern Border. You know, we talked a lot about the title of this podcast and why the fight for the southern border. Well, I have to tell you, this last time that we went down, it truly looks like a DMZ, a demilitarized zone. One small ranch. They're pecan farmers. Their land has now become ground zero. The buoys are out in the water, and you can see them from the Urbina's farm called Heavenly Farms. Then there is concertina wire, which is basically razor wire fencing. It's kind of circular, that's in the water and then up on the banks. Then there's a road. It's a dirt road that anytime someone goes by there, you can't even breathe because of the dirt, and it is so dry out there that it just picks up a ton of dirt. Then you have another fence with more wiring on the top. When you get there and you're talking to Magaly Urbina, one of the owners, it's kind of surreal. I mean, this is an area that I've been in, that I've traveled through, that I've hung out since I was 19 years old. A lot of my friends from college are from Eagle Pass, from Del Rio, from Laredo, Texas. A lot of them are from the border, and I can tell you I had never seen it like this. This week was a little bit more difficult because while we've been seeing everything that's been put up to try and slow down the number of migrants coming in through Eagle Pass, it is different when you're there. And it is different when you pull the car over and you're hearing little girls screaming and their mothers screaming because they're stuck inside the concertina wire. When we pull the car over, that's when we stopped again to talk to Magaly, who was desperate, trying to find something to cut the fence that she claims has illegally been put on her land. Magaly will not be shy about telling you she is a Republican, but she is very angry right now that the governor has taken over her land, no eminent domain, saying that it is a disaster zone, and she does not understand where the disaster is in order for him to take over her land. That part of her pecan grove cannot grow. It did not pollinate this year, so therefore there are no nuts on that side of her property. We had a long conversation with Magaly, and I want you to hear a little bit about what she's living through. And to her, this is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. This is an everyday person who lives on the border fighting lawmakers who cannot get together to get this thing under control. How long have you lived in Eagle Pass?
My entire life. I went to elementary school here, high school, and been here ever since.
Have you ever seen it this bad when it comes to immigration?
No, not this bad. I think I remember back in the 90s, there were a lot of people crossing. They called them OTMs, other than Mexican nationals at the time. And you would see groups, but I didn't have the property on the river. I couldn't tell you, I don't think there were as many as we see or have been seeing now.
Did you ever imagine you were going to be ground zero of one of the most controversial issues in the United States?
Never, ever did I imagine this. But now the more time I think about it, I think for those that believe in a God, there is a reason. There is a lot of prayer out here. We have people praying. And, you know, I've seen so many migrants cross and they're crying, and at night sometimes I think God hears their cries too. They are human beings.
For you personally, I mean, we were talking about, tell me about what you saw yesterday with the pregnant woman. What happened?
There was a woman that had come crossed the river, got through the sea wire, and she was already up at the fence. And the state troopers had come up and they were trying to talk to her. And I said, no, stop. She's already here. And I told her, wait here by the fence. And I asked her, how many months pregnant are you? She said, I'm 8 months pregnant. I said, oh my God. So I called Border Patrol and I said, there's a woman here who's 8 months pregnant. And they said, we're on our way. And then the trooper said, well, we're calling the medics. And we thought, well, how are you going to get her out? It was further down south. There's only one way in and one way out that they've created. I thought, she needs help. What are y'all going to do? How long is that going to take? Who's going to get her out? Well, you're going to carry her out? You're going to put her in your car? I was thinking all these things. And sure enough, Border Patrol showed up and they cut the fence. My husband and I gave them permission. It is our property. And they pulled her out. And then Highway Patrol stayed. They were watching. Their medics showed up, and a medic is here to save lives. Guess what? They crawled through the hole in the fence to also check on the woman. And I was thinking, are you serious? This is the United States of America. Do we really need to be playing like this? Just seems ridiculous.
For you personally, and I know she's going to ask you more about the property and the buoys and all that, but for you personally, what's the biggest slap in the face as a landowner in the United States of America?
The biggest slap is, well, there's two. It's unfortunate that our president and the laws that are set in place, nobody will follow them or fix them or change them to make it easier for the asylum seekers to come through the bridge or a safe way. And it's unfortunate that you've got Governor Abbott, the state of Texas, also doing the same thing, saying, oh, they're trespassing. Guess what? The state is also trespassing, and they are breaking the law, and they are doing whatever they want. And they've changed the flow of the river and killed all the vegetation. And they've made it more difficult for women and children, defenseless women and children. I'm not saying all of them are, they're different situations. And until you're here, you don't know. But he's just made it a lot more difficult to help someone that needs water, first aid. And to be here and to watch it and not be able to help, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So there's going to be people on the other side in San Antonio, in wherever they see the stories that are going to go out, that are going to be like, oh, whatever, and they
well,
don't
whatever,
understand.
let's go. They can't stand it when their neighbor leaves trash in their house, or you're like, you have something different in a HOA, because it's mostly people that have funds and live in nice neighborhoods. Y'all can't stand it if somebody paints their fence a different color. Just imagine if they did this to your property. That's what I have to say to them.
Pretty mad?
I'm very, very frustrated by all of this. I don't know how they're going to fix it. People will still cross even when this is over and Biden and Abbott are gone. They will continue to cross. This is the way it's been forever.
What do you think's going to happen this time? We saw when it was going to rain, and they went running to get the train
The
wagons,
containers, they move the containers because they don't know the damage that can be done if it rains. Well, you know what? We'll just have to wait and see if it hurts anybody or the river, but I don't think they care. I really don't think they care.
What have you seen this summer out here with the heat, with this up now?
It's the same thing we saw last summer. People dehydrated, heat stroke, which is why we allowed Border Patrol to lease land so that they could have water to drink, a place to use a restroom, because they were taking their clothes off completely naked in front of all of us. And then they were leaving their clothes thrown. That's why we have a trash bin. We were going to do things better, or that's what we thought. But nobody, I don't know where the humanitarians are, and I don't know.
Do you think
what else to say?
Yeah. Do you think there's any room in the United States to be a nation of loss, but also not lose our humanity?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what's happened to us as a nation. Everything is an extreme. Everyone is so angry. Where's the forgiveness? Where's the love? I don't know. It starts with us. When we change our heart, then other hearts change.
Okay. Anything else I didn't ask you?
I don't think so.
How do you get along with the National Guards member? Because I've heard a lot, including from DPS, that the ones that are coming from out of the state they don't understand.
They don't.
How we live here.
They don't. The ones coming from, like you said, out of state, they're saying, where's the common sense? This is ridiculous. Even within the state, different levels where they're older, mature, have more experience from bigger cities are saying, yeah, this is ridiculous. This isn't right. But hey, everybody needs their job, or they need their paycheck, and they need their insurance. It would take a really strong person to say, hey, my heart says this is wrong and it's wrong, because they will probably get fired and they'll probably turn on them. I've seen that happen.
I mean, this looks like a DMZ, like a demilitarized zone between countries. I mean,
it does, and that's what it feels like, and it's so sad.
That is all for this week. We will have a new edition coming up the following week as we head back to the border. We're down there at least once a week as this crisis continues. And the question also is, why are they still only crossing in Eagle Pass? If you go a little bit further west in the town of Del Rio and the sister city, Acuña, on the Mexican side, the area where people were crossing, where the Haitians were crossing, that is all federal land. That's going to be interesting when it is decided by the governor of the state of Texas what they're going to do there if and when people start crossing through there, because now this is not state property. That area is federal property. So we're all kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen. For this edition of Immigration Crisis, the Fight for the Southern Border, I'm Jami Virgen of Sinclair Broadcasting. Until the next one, from San Antonio, Texas.